Chapman for three. Bingo! He is hard to believe. The Magic a 360 turn with the rhythm. Magic down the middle. Gives underneath the Worthy. Slam dunk. Double fake.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Dime Dropper 24-minute recaps, episode number 18. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe on all platforms, YouTube at Dime Dropper Podcasts, Apple and Spotify, Dime Dropper Podcast, and of course to follow us on social media at Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Dime Dropper Pod. So for tonight's recap, 4 great nationally televised games. It was a nice matinee of basketball, much better than Christmas. And oh boy, what an interesting one we just had. I gotta say, because you Laker fans love it so much when the Clippers lose or choke, I'm just gonna let out on behalf of Clipper Nation. You suckers, man. You want to talk all that shit about us getting our, blowing leads. Well, a 19-point lead squandered by the Lakers, an absolute choke job in the fourth quarter. They came out, once again, Lakers again, starting great. They start out so well. Schroeder was abusing the big men when they were switching on to him at the top. It was Wiseman in the beginning, and he was getting just in foul trouble. He was having a tough time, whether it was AD on the offensive glass. I really liked how aggressive AD was in the beginning of the game on the glass, and Schroeder was getting whatever he wanted at will. I think he had 17 points or so in the first half, and Steph wasn't making anything, and Draymond was kind of being a liability on offense, and it looked like the Lakers were just going to run away with it. And, slowly the Warriors would make some runs. Their second unit was fantastic tonight. Pascal, he's a certified bucket. 19 minutes of play, he had 19 points, 8 of 11 from the field. Trez could not stop him. Trez actually had a good night off the bench, too, in terms of scoring. 7 of 8, 17 points, getting his, offensive rebounds, just finishing down low. He gets his hustle points. But once again, I think Vogel, he's doing this too much. He's leaving Trez out there too long. Marc Gasol only played 16 minutes tonight, and he had 1 foul, and he was +4. Marc Gasol is a totally different presence down there defensively than Montrader. They are going to attack him, and that's exactly what they were doing. How many points in the paint did the Warriors have in the fourth quarter? And the Lakers, LeBron and Anthony Davis a little bit, but he really tailed off as the game went on. And once again, guys, we've talked about this before. How do you guard AD? You put a smaller guy on him that's strong. And, they stopped putting Wiseman on him tonight. It was a lot more Wiggins, Oubre, Pascal, Looney, different kinds of smaller guys that could take hits. If I'm forgetting someone, drop it in the comments. But AD, smaller guys with length that can get physical, force him away from the basket, and that's what happened today. And AD was just missing some open ones, in the fourth quarter. And LeBron, he's been so good this season, but he just did not come to play tonight at all. He was traveling across the world. He was missing free throws again, 5 of 8 from the line tonight. Just didn't look. By the way, it's so ridiculous how much this dude complains whenever he gets touched going to the basket. Like sometimes he doesn't even get back on defense. He just wants to bitch. And it's so not what you want to show your kids to do. And the Warriors exploited that at times. But, you still thought the game was over because Kuz was starting to hit some threes at the end of the third quarter. But the fourth quarter, Lakers complacent. How many times did they let Andrew Wiggins come up and shoot wide open threes? Like, dude, Wiggins has been playing great this season. You got to know your personnel there. And Kelly Oubre, a guy who is just not having a good time shooting the ball. He clearly overestimates himself as a three-point shooter. But what about the heart on defense from that guy every single night? He was fantastic, taking the challenge of guarding LeBron and guarding multiple guys, AD at times. He was just awesome, Kelly Oubre, in terms of the defense. He plays so hard. He doesn't get deterred by missing shots, and that is huge. And the Lakers not only did that, they went stagnant offensively. They were just turning the ball over. The ball was like slipping out of their hands. And LeBron and AD just did not set a tone tonight. It was mostly the role players that were really getting them going in the beginning. LeBron and Anthony Davis, especially LeBron, it was just garbage tonight, in my opinion. Just really garbage. But it's okay. He's still having an MVP campaign. That happens, and it's a lesson learned for the Lakers. You cannot take your foot off the gas. You got to give some credit to the Warriors, though. Pascal, great in the fourth quarter. Damian Lee, big shots in the fourth quarter. Stephen Curry, he wasn't having a good night, but in the end of the game, Steph Curry was making big shots. That 30-footer he hit, wow. And then, what about Dennis Schroeder missing a big free throw? How about, have you guys noticed this? Between the finals and tonight, have you guys noticed that Steph Curry does a good job guarding LeBron? It's very weird, but he does a good job guarding LeBron. Anyway, terrible loss for the Lakers. Absolute choke job, Clipper style. Take your L, Laker fans. It was a long time coming because you guys have been playing ass teams for a while. So this tells you can't just run away with it anymore. But I expect the Lakers to come out next game. I don't know who they're playing and beat the brakes off of them because this may piss them off. Anyway, that's it for the Laker game tonight. Let's go on to the best game of the night. This was very entertaining. Milwaukee and Brooklyn. It was James Harden's second game. It was a very interesting start. KD started off struggling a little bit. James Harden, again, you could tell he was in that mode of I'm trying to get everybody involved. DeAndre Jordan was having his best game of the season by far. He was guarding Giannis to start the game, but he was sitting in the paint. And you know what Giannis does? All he wants to do is get a full head of steam. My friend made a hilarious joke today. Every single play is Giannis halfback dive. He goes to the basket, and DeAndre Jordan, when he doesn't have to move his feet, he doesn't have to come out. If he just stands there and makes himself big, that's what he's great at because he's strong, and he was getting his hand on a couple of balls with Giannis. He was contesting him at the rim and getting out and contesting certain shots, and Giannis was missing some easy ones to start. But who was able to pick up the slack? Chris Middleton, who really I've started to gain a whole lot of respect for. He doesn't have a very fancy bag. He doesn't have a very fancy kind of thing, but we talked about in the opening night or Christmas pod. I think it was opening night when they played the Celtics. Dude, that he has some of these pull-ups down to a science. He has a decent mid-post game. Chris Middleton is a tough shot maker. He's the closer of this team. And how about Drew Holiday, who I swear to God, he needs to be in that Defensive Player of the Year running this season, man, because he is just fantastic. I love watching him play defense. He was picking up James Harden full court. And I was just like, wow, like he's just amazing. He was guarding Kevin Durant and doing a good job at times. Drew Holiday, he's just one of the best defenders in the league. Honestly, I think the best perimeter defender, one-on-one defender in the league. He needs to be in that Defensive Player of the Year consideration. If he's not first team, then the media is they're already completely invalidated, but if they don't do it again, they just really suck. But I thought it was interesting because DeAndre Jordan, he was playing really well, getting some nice lobs. And, James Harden and DeAndre Jordan are starting to build some chemistry on that lob. And James Harden is one of the best pick-and-roll threats in the league. And DeAndre Jordan was famous for, with Chris Paul and with us in Lob City, a good roller. He's obviously not the same bouncy kind of guy, but slowly but surely, teams are going to have to make decisions. When Harden's being aggressive, and I like the way Harden played today, still too many turnovers. 6 of them came in the first half, but he didn't turn the ball over in the second half. And that's something you got to love if you're a Nets fan from James. And James has done a good job, in my opinion, so far of not over-dribbling, of not doing too much, of knowing his role. And after the game, he came out and said, Kevin Durant's the best player on the team. So he's basically admitted that he's not the number one on a championship team. Maybe he can be number 2, kind of like what Chris Paul did when he went to Harden. And I really respect that, actually. Self-reflection. And I thought James, didn't have much self-reflection. But, as I said last episode, maybe that time of his career is over. And maybe he's just willing to do what's needed to win. And sometimes he would get a little too passive for me tonight. But in the fourth quarter, he started taking things into his own hands. And he would call out screens so he can get the Bucks to switch Holiday off of him, and he was taking Connaughton, DiVincenzo, different guys one-on-one, and he was getting into the lane. And I thought DiVincenzo was actually doing a really good job guarding Harden because, as I said in the previous episodes, the best way to guard Harden is to try to bait him into a step back but try to force him right. But Harden wasn't settling, and this is when Harden's unstoppable, when he goes to the basket, and he was finishing some tough floaters with the right hand, getting into the lane. And I just thought that he was playing just really well, pretty aggressively, and just taking what came to him. 3 of 10, exactly the same from 3 as the last game, but 13 of 25 overall, and he really took over that fourth quarter. He had a 12-6, 2-1 assist-to-turnover ratio tonight, which was much better. KD was starting to play a lot better in the second half. You knew the shots were just going to fall, even though the Bucks were doing a good job of just getting a hand up and more attention with KD. He'd go left and a second defender would come to get a hand up last second before he shot it. But CJ McCollum said it best in a tweet tonight. KD is the type of guy you just got to put your hand up and hope he misses because he can make shots on everybody. And as the game went on, Kevin Durant started doing that. He finished with another 30-point game. And James Harden late in the game, he missed a three, but he followed his own shot. I mean, that's great. And, here's the thing. We talk about Harden's lack of off-ball movement. But, running the point, he doesn't have to do as much of that. He passes the ball or he initiates the offense and then lets the ball work its way around. And the ball was working its way around to the role players tonight. Joe Harris, his second straight game with Harden and his second straight great game. 7 of 12 from the field, 5 of 7 from 3, 20 points for Joe. So when you have him scoring 20 to go along with 34, 6, and 12 assists from Harden, and then you have 30 from Kevin, that's great. And another guy that's really benefiting off of James is Jeff Green. They played with each other, as we said, in Houston, and those pick and pops. I mean, Jeff Green was splashing it tonight. 5 of 6 from the field, 4 of 5 from 3, 14 points. He was having some trouble with Giannis, though, and I like how Giannis, as the game went on, he started knocking down some jumpers. He started getting way more aggressive, and that's one thing I love about Giannis is he doesn't quit. He's very relentless. He's very physical, and, he doesn't, he continues to stay aggressive. And that's one thing I really like about Giannis. But, in the fourth quarter, that he's not the closer. It's kind of a Shaq situation in a way where he just can't get the ball because of his free throw shooting. And that's a huge liability. And he wasn't, he's not confident in his jumper, even though he was actually not bad at it tonight. He finished 13 of 26 and 2 of 6 from 3. But because Giannis gets a lot of I don't want to say filler points, but points that go unnoticed, just kind of hustle points. Because the Nets were starting to fall asleep on defense in the fourth quarter. DeAndre a couple times. The Nets had a wide open Giannis dunk, and then there was a Brook Lopez wide open three. This was getting the Bucks back in the game. But ultimately, that Harden offensive rebound kick to a Kevin Durant three, put him up by 2, and then Middleton missed. And the Nets come out with 2 consecutive victories, staying undefeated since Harden's come. You've got to give Harden credit for the way he's played so far. The question is, though, what's going to happen when Kyrie comes back? Because I actually don't think this is a bad dynamic. However, DeAndre Jordan will not play like this every night. This was his best game of the season by far, a large part because Giannis is, his game is to just charge inside, and DeAndre Jordan doesn't need to guard outside of the foul line against him. He can sag off. So he was 6 of 6 tonight, DJ, 12 and 12 rebounds, of course. But that was the game. The Nets bench, just terrible. Besides Bruce Brown, who brought 22 minutes of good energy and defense with 8 points and 6 rebounds. But it was a good win for the Nets. The Bucks, they'll be fine. Just got to come back next game. I thought that their bench sold them short. DJ Augustine, I thought, was pretty ass. 0 of 7. And Bryn Forbes just couldn't make it. 2 of 7. 0 of 2 from 3. The Nets move on to 9 and 6. Let's go on to the next game, which was also very interesting. We hadn't seen our Phoenix Suns, one of our dime dropper teams, in a while. And today, they came out sharp in the first quarter, with this sense of, we haven't played in a while, flying around on defense. Cam Johnson got the start today instead of Crowder. I didn't really love that. I don't think Crowder was in nearly the same rhythm as he usually is. But the Suns did a good job in the first quarter. They were up 24-18 after 1. But this Grizzlies team, it reminded me of when they played the Lakers twice, where they started out really poor. But then in that second quarter, they finally started to gain some rhythm. And a lot of it's with the bench. I've noticed Gorgie Jang and Grayson Allen are starting to form a nice little connection off the bench. And you know what? Grayson Allen, I know he's not the most popular guy in the world, but dude, that guy is an NBA player. He's a smart player. He played at Duke for 3 or 4 years. He can play in pick and roll. He's a decent shot maker, and he really plays defense too, Grayson Allen. And him and Gorgie Jang had some nice pick and rolls. He got the Grizzlies, helped get the Grizzlies back in the game. And Kyle Anderson, man, when you look at this Grizzlies record, they are 7 and 6, and John Morant missed several games, and they haven't had Jaren Jackson Jr. in 1 game. So that means that Kyle Anderson, these different guys, Brandon Clark, who I thought was awesome today, these guys deserve a lot of credit. Kyle Anderson, my second favorite college player of all time. Love that guy. He's starting to look like a real NBA player. But the Suns, Devin Booker was really struggling. And once again, it comes down to, I know the Suns like to win by committee, but today, the only one of the big 3 that I thought was good enough was Ayton, which is hilarious because that's usually not the case. But I really saw some great things from DeAndre Ayton today. even though the Suns were down 4 at half, it was very even in the third quarter. And DeAndre Ayton had a couple of moments where he had a smaller guy on him and he actually dunked the ball. And there was this one play where he spun baseline and threw down a reverse dunk. I literally lost it, got out of my seat and just lost it, because that is literally what DeAndre Ayton is capable of doing. Punishing these little dudes, because he actually has skill. He doesn't need to do that. Like, he doesn't need to, he needs to do that. He needs to be aggressive. He needs to punish these dudes, little guys. And Chris Paul, he wasn't great for me today. He missed a couple mid-ranges that he literally makes in his sleep. And another thing, obviously, every Clipper fan knows this, but Chris Paul's signature thing when he gets a big guy switched on to him is he likes to lull him like he's going to go by him, and then he settles for a 3 contested, but he usually makes it. However, that's the type of shot that when that doesn't go in, it's just not a good shot, because he's a point guard traditionally against a bigger guy. You're supposed to try to blow by him. And Chris Paul, especially in today's league, you're going to get foul calls at the basket. And Chris Paul, took a couple of those and didn't make it. And then he committed a couple of careless turnovers that are very uncharacteristic of Chris. Yeah, 6 turnovers for Chris Paul. That's just not Chris at all. And it's funny because Ayton was still playing well. Mikal Bridges was playing well, as he always does. I mean, Mikal's very consistent. I thought Javon Carter was good off the bench too. He had 8 points. Mikal had 17. But yeah, Crowder was 2 of 7. He just didn't get that same kind of burn. I think Monty should go back to starting him. But Devin Booker is kind of the main reason, in my opinion, they lost the game. In the fourth quarter, they were up a couple points, and he was missing everything. Like, he was missing dunks. He missed a dunk, guys, and then missing, classic pull-ups. He didn't shoot 1 free throw tonight, not Booker and not Chris Paul. They did not shoot, go to the basket enough at all. And Ja Morant made some incredible plays down the stretch. Ja Morant is one of my favorite young players in this league. He had this incredible baseline scoop pass to Grayson Allen off a split that gave the Grizzlies the lead. It was a fantastic play. He started making free throws down the stretch. And yeah, the Suns, they really choked it. Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, some of these guys had open threes in the fourth, but to no avail. And the Suns dropped one of the worst losses they've had in the season. Outside of the Detroit game, this was the worst loss of the season for the Suns. Devin Booker just cannot play like that. And Chris Paul at the same time playing like that. You got to give credit to Ja Morant and the Grizzlies. Grayson Allen finished with 16 points and 6 boards. So I thought he was very impressive. Ja Morant, 17 and 10. But yeah, Devin Booker, 12 points, 5 of 21, just not going to cut it. Chris Paul, 7 and 13, but 6 turnovers. That's not going to cut it either. So not a good loss for the Suns. I expect them to bounce back. Now they're 7 and 5. So it's starting to get very testy in the Western Conference. Now let's finish it off with the Hawks back in action after losing 2 straight. They were back home today, early game against the Wolves, another dime dropper team, but no Karl Anthony Towns. So I was looking at this game as a must win for the Hawks kind of thing. And once again, it was so similar to the Blazers game where Trae Young set the tone by being a facilitator that's not just facilitating in the pick and roll for him. It was, pushing the ball, passing it up the floor, and, trusting other guys to make plays. And DeAndre Hunter was doing that. And Kevin Huerter was doing that. Kevin Huerter had 8 assists tonight. And that's just what's possible. Trae Young finding open guys, Kevin Huerter, DeAndre Hunter. And you know who needs to be shouted out tonight? Again, Clint Capella. And you know what you're going to get from him. He's a great roller. He gets offensive rebounds. He had 4 of those today. He's not bad finishing around the basket against a smaller guy when they're on him. He can't really score like one-on-one, feed it to Capella. He's not that type of guy. But, on a scramble, on a rotation where he gets a smaller guy, you can toss it down to him. Or he takes advantage of a smaller guy on a switch and gets rebounds. He was blocking shots. I mean, let's see how many blocks Capella had tonight. 3 blocks. So I really liked what I was seeing. The Wolves kind of started inching back. But Trae Young, even in foul trouble, he had 5 fouls. But the Hawks, as I said, this is a talented team that they do not need Trae Young to do everything that he does. And I think that he's starting to realize that. He was only 3 of 8 from the field. And he shot 12 of 13 from the line. So he shot more free throws than field goals, which is good. That means he was being aggressive, getting to the basket. And 20 points, 8 boards, 13 assists, which was a very solid line from Trae. However, the Hawks against a better team may have been in trouble because they turned the ball over in an absurd amount of times. 24 turnovers for the Hawks. That's just ridiculous. However, Brandon Goodwin, even though the bench for the Hawks wasn't very good, I thought Tony Snell and Brandon Goodwin weren't bad. Even though Brandon Goodwin was 1 of 10, you got to watch the games because this guy, he works without the ball. He plays hard. He hustles. He spots up. He just does the right things on the court. But I really think that the star today was DeAndre Hunter. I thought that the Hawks did a good job of forcing some turnovers and getting out and running and getting some easy baskets. There was one time they made me so happy. It was a fast break, and they didn't ruin it by taking a three. It was a 3-on-2 break or something, or a 3-on-1. It was a 3-on-1, and Kevin Huerter and DeAndre Hunter made some quick passes to each other, a little give and go, running, filling the lanes, and getting a layup on a fast break. I mean, that's called basketball. That is what you do on a fast break, not that garbage 3 stuff. 26 points off turnovers for the Hawks, and DeAndre Hunter, I really like that kid, man. He wasn't a one and done. He played at Virginia, much like Malcolm Brogdon. He's got a good eye for the game. He's improving. I like when he gets to the basket. He hits his open shots. He's open threes, open mid-ranges. And he's even able to, come up a screen sometimes if the defender of the big man is sagging off too much, dropping too deep. He can pull up. Sometimes you can't even go under the screen on him. 8 of 15 for DeAndre Hunter, 3 of 6 from 3. He was my player of the game with a season-high 25 points. Capella, a close second, and also John Collins. I would like if John Collins could develop a post game, but once again, as we talked about, is the NBA getting better and better? It's just not really taught anymore. But John Collins, I liked his activity today. He was really flying around on defense. We've talked about, there's some games where John Collins looks very average on defense, like lost, not communicating, not rotating where he needs to be. He's a young player. And then sometimes when the Hawks go small, he's only 6'8", so he's not a true center. Teams like to attack the rim on him. He's not, the strongest guy when it comes to, rim protection. And he does have bounce, but he's only 6'8", so it's not the same as a guy like a Capella down there. But John Collins today was very active, great help defense, switching in the right moments when he needs to be, taking some hits to the chest. 4 blocks for John Collins. I thought even though 15 points and 6 of 8, you'd think he needs to shoot more, which he probably did. But I just thought his defense was great. I thought the energy was great. And this is a really good win for the Hawks because I think it's just great that Trae Young only shot 8 times. And you can see, look at the lines of the Hawks, the starting lineup, 17 from Huerter, 15 from Collins, 25 from DeAndre, 23 for Capella, and 20 from Trae. So all the starters had 15 or more, and that comes from Trae Young. This team goes how he goes. And if he buys in like that, this Hawks team will make the playoffs at least the play-in. 6-7 for the Hawks. That was a big win. DeAndre Hunter, as I said, my player of the game, but they need to limit the turnovers. And I was happy to see the Hawks actually keeping a lead in the fourth quarter, 30-26. They actually outscored the Wolves in the fourth. And if you're the Wolves, by the way, Ryan Saunders needs to be questioned because D'Angelo Russell, there is absolutely no reason that without Cat that he should be playing only 32 minutes. It needs to be 35 or more. Malik Beasley, as great of a season as he's had, should not be playing more than D'Lo. D'Lo had 31 points tonight, 11 of 22, and was just in his bag. And I just do not understand it. Ryan Saunders, I think that they may need a coaching change. I liked Flip Saunders. I mean, his dad, rest in peace, great coach, very good coach. But I don't know, man. I just don't know if this guy is the right guy for this team. D'Angelo Russell deserves a bit more respect. And with the amount of games that Cat is missing, I just don't think that this team is going to do what I expected him to do, which was to get like the 10 seed or fight for that play-in. But it is what it is. Great win for the Hawks. Clint Capella's rolling. DeAndre Hunter is rolling. And I think that's it. Now we're going to go to the live chat with the YouTube subscribers. Please, by the way, super chats are on if you want to drop a dime for your boy. Thank you so much. Please tell me what you need. Please tell me what you want to see going forward. Or I'm sorry, please tell me what you thought of the episode. We're at 24 minutes. Shout out to Bean. By the way, speaking of Kobe, I have a very special episode planned about Kobe and his NBA finals, 2 of them that he lost, and then the 2 that he lost. I'm going to be making an episode around with my friend. We watched the 2 series back to break it down, and then we're going to have a why Kobe's Lakers went back-to-back in response to that to celebrate the success as we approach the 1-year tragedy since it happened. Thanks for joining me. Peace. What's up, guys? Chokers. Uh-oh, Lakers choke just like the Clips against the Warriors. I'm not pushing anyone to the rug. They choked that. It's not the finals and it's not the playoffs for me. So for me to be that mad, yeah, guys, it's a regular season game. You guys understand that No, I'm not going to stop calling Montrez that. Montrader. Hey, what's up, 79 Steve? Thank you, sure. I still dislike Harden, but he really has been fire. I'm agree. Yeah, Lake Show real quiet. Where the Laker fans at? Where them Laker fans? Ooh, where them at though? Come on, guys. You love, dude. I did watch the 04 finals. What that? Hey, y'all want to go watch what real defense looks like again? Go watch that finals. Oh, Kyle Kuzma. Of course, Kobe would have called out AD for playing soft, but I feel like maybe LeBron does behind the scenes. I don't know, but yeah. How do you think Doc Rivers is doing in Philly? I think he's using common sense and running the offense through Embiid, which is good. Austin Lane is a Warriors fan. Lakers went full Clippers today. Yes, sir, Sando, they did. Yo, you Laker fans love to come when the Clippers choke, but when the Lakers choke, you want to go quiet to your beds and say it's a bad night. Get out of here, you soft motherfuckers. Come on now. You guys are some soft Charmin boys. I'm a Laker fan, but also a basketball fan. Other Laker fan pages, I follow the comments are the worst. All right, for sure. I saw we got some Laker fans here tonight, for sure, being good sports about it. You know, obviously, guys, it doesn't matter. That's the point, though. You Laker fans make a big deal about when we lose. That's the only reason why I'm saying that. Man, Z Visions, feel better, bro. At least the Heat won tonight, right? You got that. But that was a great day for basketball, guys. I was like not really hyped on it today because I was like, what if it's like Christmas, some shitty games? But man, those games lived up to the hype, all of them. Yeah, it shouldn't be a big deal. Laker fans, guys, you guys are still the favorite to win the championship. You're still the best team in the league. It's nothing to worry about. Braun was just bad. I would give anything to watch every game like I do now of Kobe. Tua, boy, when did you start watching basketball, bro? Because did you miss out on Kobe like that? And you didn't get to watch him live? Man, sometimes I take it for granted, and I wish I could go back sometimes. But the Clippers weren't as good, so sometimes I don't wish I could go back. I feel you, Kuzma. I feel you. AD at the end of the games. Kevin Porter Jr., I don't know, man. He's had problems since he was at USC, so I don't really know, man. He can do whatever he wants. I don't really care. I don't really watch the Cavs either. I wouldn't be mad if Kobe lost because he prepares and always gives it his heart. Hey, to our boy, that's the difference. I think Doc Rivers has honestly been good for us. It's just that Ben Simmons has not been himself. Are you sure it's not been himself, or is Ben Simmons just not all that? Yo, Devon Russell, I think you're being a little harsh on your Lakers, man. To say they don't have heart, they just made the championship and won. You know what I mean? They can lose a game. If they've won like 5 games in a row, you guys are going to be fine. Yeah, Kobe 05-06 season, my God. That and Russell Westbrook's triple-double season was unreal. Kobe was special, a true artist of footwork. Will Bucks ever make that step? Rag to bitches. It's all about Giannis. I believe Chris Middleton and Holiday will be good enough. It's all about Giannis. What does "are you chopped" mean? Do y'all think Kobe's in the GOAT convo? I'll tell you this. I don't answer these questions usually. I personally don't think Kobe's in the GOAT conversation just because I think it's extremely hard and a little just lying if you want to say he's better than Jordan, because I think he would have told you that he's not better than Jordan and he didn't like speaking on it. However, I think Kobe can be as high as 2. I really do. You can argue it all day long, in my opinion. Because if Jordan, let's say you have Jordan as your GOAT, and Kobe's the closest thing to that. So, damn, you started watching seriously in 2014. That's unfortunate. There's nothing more satisfying than LeBron missing a game-winning 3. Ended my Martin Luther King Jr. Day on a great note. Yo, Seth Greenberg. Are you Seth Greenberg or Griffin Greenberg? Are you guys related? I remember those days a lot, and I kind of liked it. I think he just isn't himself because even in his potential was a bench player, 5 points isn't the limit. I know Giannis will do the same thing he did the last 2 years, but Drew will be the difference. We'll see, though. You already know that the East is getting better. The East has gotten better. But, yeah. Any other questions, guys? Look like we're not as popular tonight because the Lakers lost. I would love that Laker fans can watch this after, though, because they're hiding. No, not related to Griffin Greenberg. Okay. Wait, there's 2 Austin Lanes? What the hell? That's so funny. Are there actually 2 Austin Lanes? Yeah, the LeBron fans don't show up tonight when he plays. Yo, it's so funny, that Johnny Cabede guy. I hope you watch this, Johnny Cabede, hitting me up in the DMs. He was trying to tell me that Tim Duncan and LeBron and Kobe and Wilt have 0 arguments to be better than LeBron. 0 argument. I hate, guys, please, don't ever use that 0 argument stuff about players. That's garbage. There's always an argument to be made about anything, about most players that top 10. So, but he's not here tonight. Of course not, because he's played like trash. Giannis is my favorite superstar in the league right now, but damn, he does need to work on a jump shot. Or like a mid-range. He doesn't even need a three. What about a post game? Like he always wants to face up. Oh, Mazza, Clippers are shit. Lakers are shit. How about that? West is getting a bit weaker. It is. At the top especially. I live in West LA though. Okay, Seth, where'd you go to school, man? It ain't a different account. I don't know if Kyrie will kill the Nets. We just have to see. Flippers fans talking about the Lakers choking. I'd rather blow a lead in the regular season than three straight when y'all make it to the Western Conference Finals. Yeah, Roberto Espino, but you choked. You choked, and we did too. First of all, it's not like the Lakers haven't choked before in the playoffs. Let's not go there. You guys are still responsible for the biggest choke in finals history in a single game. And that will be talked about in my video coming up. Disappointing. Yeah, I feel you, Michi. I feel you. Yeah, support I totally agree about Giannis, bro. Seriously. Totally agree. Dude, Middleton's, I know this sounds crazy, but Middleton's really making a case for me as like maybe he's like almost as good. Like really maybe the best player on the team. Maybe. Dude, he can hit shots and he's a closer and he plays defense. But we'll see. 04 finals, best days of my childhood. 05 was the worst. I used to hate the Spurs. Yo, me too, dude. I used to hate the Spurs. But they were so respectable. As I got older, I started to gain respect for them. Yeah, that Pistons series, man. We're going to talk about that in my video. It's coming up. I got a guest on, big-time Laker fan. I hope you move then, Mazza, because Clippers are here to stay. New stadium coming by the Rams Stadium, so you can move. We don't need you in LA. By the way, we're going to end this video at 33 minutes because Kobe Bryant, 33, high school number, and the great Larry Bird, and the great 33 Phillip Street in Amherst, Massachusetts, my old home. Any more questions, guys? Yo. You already know. Don't come at my boy Tua boy, man. He's respectful. Who knows how old this guy is? He could be young. Come on, don't be mean to him. He actually tries to watch old games. Yo, Saporte, what about Shaq? That's what you have to think. Not every single best player on the team has been what's it called? Not everyone is the closer, best player. Yo, Sandro, I lived in Massachusetts, bro. Brady over there is exactly like how Kobe is here. Like, they worship him. You cannot say a bad word about Brady over there. I feel you on that 04 finals, Davon Russell. I heard Kenny Smith talk about the LeBron is very lucky having AD. Yeah, I agree. That's true. Ragtovich, I tweeted about that. Michael Jordan, that was a really good point he made. Michael Jordan didn't have another player that garnered double teams the same way Shaq did with Kobe on his team, Kareem did with Magic on his team, or AD with Bron. That's true. Good point by Kenny. The fact that the Warriors won and shot horribly from three really says something about the Lakers tonight. Let's be nice, lazy. I love you too, Roberto Espino. Do you think the Warriors would have had a shot against the Lakers and Clippers if Clay was healthy? Absolutely. Is that Carlos Arroyo? I watched that 1980 Western Conference Finals game. What'd you think, Tua boy? If the Nets can mesh their starting five with Kyrie, they can probably take a chip, but I don't think that bench holds up. Dude, why do you guys think it's all going to be Nets Lakers in the finals? I think you guys are totally jumping the gun on that. Yo, Seth Greenberg, you are 100% right. I'm going to tell you guys this right now. Maybe it's because we haven't played LeBron in the playoffs, but in my 15, 16 years of the Clippers playing LeBron James, I've never been scared of him once. Like, he never scares me, ever. AD scares me, though, for sure. And I don't know why. LeBron he doesn't have, guys, you're going to hate me, but only certain moments, he's not consistent with it. Like, LeBron sometimes goes off, and then you're like, uh-oh. But against the Clippers, he's never done it. It's obviously because we haven't played him in the playoffs, probably. But, like, he's just so, like, that's the thing about Jordan and Kobe to me that, for me, I go with them is because they had this mentality. They never turn it off. Like, if they're going to lose, if they fuck up, it's because they're doing too much or maybe it's not falling. But, like, LeBron sometimes, like, he just kind of be going through the motions. First of all, Kawhi, AD, and Giannis isn't a question, Sean. It's Kawhi first, in my opinion, because he's led his team to a championship. AD second, and then Giannis. Here's the thing. If Giannis had AD's – Giannis needs some more skill like AD has, and AD needs some more dog like Giannis has. Oh, you're 15, Tua boy? Man, you're a young guy. Feel you. Yo, E, we're going to do videos like that, but it's in my timeline, dude. It's going to take a while, but we'll see that. Support Kobe for me has to be better than Shaq all time. For me. I just think that Shaq is kind of Roberto, I had 130,000 people. You're not 50, Mazda, because you're way too childish. If you're 50 years old, you wouldn't be in my lives every night. That's just weird. Roberto. Oh, you went to Beverly Hills High School? Actually, I don't want to reveal what high school I went to. I'm sorry, I can't do that. Let's just say I went to school on the West Side too, though. Okay. Gus Williams is very nice. USC alum. What was I gonna say to you? I'm gonna log off, but Roberto, you can't tell me what's it called? I can clown the Lakers all I want because I had 130,000 people. Seth Greenberg, yes. I had a terrible place. I had 130,000 people laugh at me because the Clippers lost. Laugh at me. Here's the thing. I don't know if he is though, man. Esla, because I love Kobe. Like he's my favorite shooting guard of all time. Like one of my favorite players. Like one of my inspirations. But he's not better than Jordan, man. The only argument you can make is he's better at threes and has this more modernized handle. But that's literally because of the game changing and he's adapting to his skill set. Michael Jordan, though, it's Michael Jordan. Like you feel just so athletic, so precise. Oh man. Anyway, that's it for me tonight, guys. Thank you. Very entertaining night. Lakers blew it. That was great. I love to see the Lakers lose with this team because I hate this team and the fans. You guys suck because you love seeing me miserable. You love seeing me miserable every single time. You know why, Michi? It's called the media brainwashing you. Go check out my series. It's the NBA getting better and better, and I'll explain everything about the GOAT convos and all that. It's all about the media. They manipulate everybody. You ask most hoopers, it's very mixed opinions. All right, guys, peace out. Shout out number 36 for Marcus Smart. Is he even number 36? Is Marcus Smart 36? I think he is, right? All right, peace. Supporte, media. Don't ever let them influence you guys, ever.